Hello and welcome to another Simply Colorful Fibercast. Today's date is May 7th, 2021. My name is Lynn Marquidant. Welcome to a special edition of Fibercast. Special because we're filming it early today because I have a bridal shower to go to. Lindsay and Tim are finally getting married. Thanks to this COVID thing being almost over, we are going to start to celebrate. So I'm here early. And I can't wait to talk to you about a modified Shoofly block that I want to do. Here from, of course, a very old Better Homes and Gardens magazine or book are some classic public domain patterns. And this is the Shoofly pattern. And building on our modified Jacob's Ladder pattern that you can see over there, kind of in the dark, that we've been working on, I thought I would modify a Shoofly block, do the same size, ultimately it ends up at 9 inches, and put that around as a border with the the background fabric being our grass. So it'll just frame it a little bit. The sashing is grass in the middle, and this will be around the edge. Hello, Anne! I know I'm very early because I have a shower to go to. I'm so glad over in Guernsey it's earlier. Oh, and I was looking up under Ancestry. I don't have a subscription, but I was searching the web, and I think that one of my great-grandfathers came out of the Guernsey Isles. He was a Corbin party. Are any of those names common in the Guernsey Isles? Anyway, came over to Ellis Island in the early 1900s. And it's many great-grandfathers ago. And anyway, here I go getting all caught up. Before we even begin sewing, I get myself all mixed up. Corbin is a local name. Okay. Huh. That's amazing. That's my mother's grandfather came over, I think. Anyway, small world. And I'm so glad you're on. This is fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this Shoofly and show you how I want to modify it. First off, for the center block, I'm going to use one of my 9 patches that's made out of my 1.5 inch squares. Excuse me. And then for the squares, some of them I'm just going to have be this green, and I'll cut these down to 3.5 inches, right? So there's that. And then for the Shoofly part, I'm kind of auditioning the fabric here before we start sewing. Yeah, this is going to work. Here's the 4th one. I'm going to show this to you before I start to cut and sew and see what you think. Oh, this green is so pretty. It's so springy, which is exactly what's going on around here. That's going to be our modified. We could be distantly related. I know! We could be, Anne. I would not be surprised. Whoops. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make those and put them around the edge. So let us get this. So I apologize for not being, I apologize for not being here last week. We had 2 things going on simultaneously. Number one was the internet. It was so windy here in New England last Friday afternoon and evening that our internet was going out. It went out a couple of times. And that's not good when you're doing a live stream. It impacts the experience. So that was number one, plus the fact that I had my second vaccine the day before. And I thought I was doing fine until that Friday afternoon, a few hours before Fibercast. I really didn't feel well. And I know many of you have experienced that. And it's just something I just had to wait for it to pass, which it eventually did. But between that and the wind, that's why I didn't do Fibercast last week. So I'm sorry if I missed you. I'm sorry to have missed you. Okay, now this can be 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. Oh, duh. Thus, my 3.5 square ruler will make this much better. It's probably time for a new blade. I think I've said that a few weeks in a row now. I thought we'd also see what happened in history on this day. Hi, Julie. Oh, you can't watch. I'm so glad to aid you. 5 minutes of this and you'll be sleeping. Oh, I'm sorry you can't sleep. That stinks. I can relate. Okay, so we have 4 of those. And now let's use this. This is a pretty one. Let's put right sides together. You can make half square triangles any way you want. And I think we've gone over that. There are many ways to do it. I have found for this particular project, it has been easiest for me just to cut a square, a big size square, about 4.5. These unfinished have to be 3.5 by 3.5. So I'm giving myself plenty of excess. I draw a line down the center of them, and then I sew a 1/4 inch seam on either side, and then I cut them and iron them. But again, you can do it any way. For this Shoofly block, I need 4 half square triangles, and I have made a conscious decision to make them all the same fabrics, even though this is a scrappy quilt. Even though it's a scrappy quilt, you'll notice that on these modified Jacob's Ladder, even though there are lots of scraps in the 9 patches, I'm using 4 similar half square triangles. And I just think it gives it a little bit of consistency. I also think if you ever find fabric that has the ombre or the pattern that goes from light to dark, use that, because it really seems to give your pattern some more movement. It's not quite as flat. And with the center squares here, the Jacob's Ladder, that is a white background. Whereas here, we're going to use our sashing color, which is our grass. So it'll be a little more subdued. Oh, my hair is getting way too long. And I think anytime now I can cut it. Okay. So now we have, oh, I didn't put my iron on. There we go, on 2, 3, 4. Hi, Carol Bell. It's not quite midnight where you are, is it? Okay. Oh, okay. So the contrast is not going to be as pronounced, which we knew. We just have to get used to it a little bit. And I'll show you what I mean. See, the green is is subduing it a bit, but that's okay. This is what I want. So now let's trim these up with our 3.5 inch. It's a sensible hour. I love it. 1845. So that's 12. Is it 6:45, right? That is a more sensible hour. I guess I didn't need to make my half square triangles quite this oversized, but it's okay. There's one. And for these, I've been pressing toward the dark side. There's just so much going on here in the studio, outside in the garden. Now that life is opening up, you know, we have parties to go to. So I would not be surprised, just as a heads up, if we don't have a few fiber casts that are scheduled at different times during the week, or there might be a few Fridays this summer when we don't have it, because I know, for example, we have 2 weddings to go to, and we're traveling to them, and it's usually on a Friday, so when we'll do fibercast is uncertain, but I just want to give everyone a heads up that we're going to be a little more flexible this summer. We'll be out of the studio a bit more, and that's all good. I hope you think it's all good. Hopefully we'll come to you remotely a few times and we can see new and different things. I realize that, you know, now that we're not traveling for another job, I know it used to be kind of fun to broadcast from California or wherever, but I haven't been to wherever in a while. Okay, so our modified Shoofly is about ready to come together. See what you think. One, two, three. Where's my 4th one? Wow. I don't know where it is. So we'll make a 4th one. What in the world? These things get eaten. Well, you can see where we're going with this, I think. Let me cut this, and then I'll sew it, and then you'll see it, and it will look good. May 7th. Do you believe it? Oh, happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. Mother's Day weekend. When your rotary cutter starts to do that and it just doesn't go through, that really means you need a new blade. Okay. So now let's put these in place so we can web them together. Okay, there they are in place. Can you believe we've been doing this 8 years? Woo! And this might be the first time we've done the Shoofly pattern, or known that we did it, or called it that. And it's a modified one at that. So 8 years and lots of fun things going on. Okay. Lots of things going on no matter what the time of year. You can see we do Christmas quilts. Behind me is the truck pattern. And it's so cute. We did it up with some white snowflakes. And it looks good. And you wash that up, it'll get a nice crinkly, it'll be lovely. Okay. So here it is webbed together. So who's going on a retreat? I know Sarah and Linda are doing the Palm Springs one. Okay, almost done. So we know for sure that in May, at the end of May, we're going to have a Fibercast broadcast from the vineyard. So that'll be fun. And then in June, maybe in the Berkshires and maybe from New Hampshire. Oh, I don't know. I want to call it American or Maine lobster is something that it's one of my favorite foods. And here in New England, in the United States, of course, it's more prevalent in the summer. And the prices, it's very expensive. And the prices go down enough so you can treat yourself, let's say. Well, I'm starting to think about how yummy lobster would taste. The price per pound of lobster up here right now is $15.99, I think. That's a little 1-pounder chicken lobster. That's not much meat, and that's a lot of money. And in the summer, I think last year we could get it for $5.99 a pound. Ooh! We have a modified Shoofly. Okay, now let's see. I hope you can see this over here. Maybe not. I think it'll be okay. It'll be separated by a sashing, so it'll look different. I like it. Let's make another one. 1, 2. Hopefully we have plenty of this. Hopefully this is 3.5 inches. Yep, it is. Okay. So I'm curious if Carolyn received her her beautiful fabric. Yet, oh my gosh. It went out to California the end of last week, so one, two. When you're not used to your ruler, at least for me, it means oftentimes I can make a cutting mistake. Okay, but there are 4 of those. And now we have these 2. What color should we do it? How about a green? Oh, and we need a center square. That looks like a good center square. Those center squares take a long time to make, so it's nice to have a few on hand. If you ever want some mindless sewing, that's a good thing to do. Not mindless. And you don't have to think too much about what you're doing. It's a leader ender type of project. A leader ender project being something that you put under your needle. Let's say you're working on something very precise or one pattern. And instead of cutting your thread and pulling it out and having a long thread tail, you can just do an interim type of block to end and lead every time you use your machine. And what happens is you don't have any long tails. You don't have the issue of having the feed dogs pull all of your fabric down because you've got a continuous piece of thread. So as an example, let's say I was finishing here and I didn't have an automatic cutter. So a leader ender project is probably a little antiquated, but I'll show you what I mean. So for a leader, let's say I'm going to finish here. Instead, I'd take one of my 9-patch pieces and I'll put it in. Right, so we've ended with that one. And then we can come over here with our scissors. We can cut that off. And then now I've got this in here, and let's say I want to start. So I've led off with that one, and I'll just start my other side here without concern of false start. And similarly, here I am done. Of course, I don't have any good, I would sew that through. Okay. So this is a modified Shoofly. Cut them both in half like that. Look at that, our iron's still on. So set the seam, and then iron toward the dark. There we go. And now we'll just trim these up. Oh, and after I trim this one, we'll see what happened in history on this day. There's one. What happened on this day? May 7th. Let's see. Oh, here's the china I got for Lindsay. Isn't that pretty? It's Kate Spade. I don't know if you can see it. It's white with gold dots on it. It's called Larrabee Road Gold Bone China, 5-piece. It's cute. And let's see. Oh, what happened on this day? Let's see. Okay, May 7th. Well, back in 1994, so that's not too long ago, folks. Most of us were living. Hi, Leah. Leah's out there. Hi. Yes, it's a surprise because I'm going to my niece's wedding shower later tonight, so I won't be around. Okay. So back in 1994, Edward Monk's The Scream painting was recovered after 3 months of theft. It was stolen from a museum in Oslo. The fragile painting, I'll show you a picture of it in a minute. It's the one where he's going, oh. Actually, I'll show you right now. Oh, that's very dark. Edward Monk's The Scream. The fragile painting was recovered undamaged at a hotel in Asgardstrand, about 40 miles south of Oslo. The iconic painting, which was painted in 1893, of a waif-like figure on a bridge, was stolen in only 50 seconds during a break-in on February 12th, the opening day of the 1994 Olympics in Lillehammer. Oh, that's interesting. 2 thieves broke through a window of the National Gallery, cut a wire, holding Oh, you've been doing crochet. That's great, Julie. A few days after the theft, a Norwegian anti-abortion group said it could have the painting returned if Norwegian television showed an anti-abortion film. The claim turned out to be false. The government also received a $1 million ransom demand on March 3rd, but refused to pay, due to lack of proof the demand was genuine. Eventually, police found 4 pieces of the painting's frame in Nittendal, a suburb north of Oslo, and what may have been a cryptic message that the thieves wanted to discuss a ransom. Finally, in January of 1996, 4 men were convicted and sentenced in connection with the theft. Okay. Oh, gee. One of the people sentenced, this is interesting, was convicted of a 1988 theft of Munch's The Vampire in Oslo. So he must like Edward Munch's work because he stole a second one. He was sentenced this time to 6.5 years in prison. He escaped while on a field trip in 1999 and was captured 12 days later in a blonde wig and dark sunglasses trying to buy a train ticket to Copenhagen. Jeez, he's a crafty guy. Oh, my goodness. And it goes on to say other things have been stolen. Another version of the Scream was stolen, along with Munch's The Madonna, from a Munch museum in Oslo. This almost sounds like a publicity ploy. 3 men were convicted. And then it says a little bit more about Munch. Munch developed an emotionally charged style that served as an important forerunner of the 20th century expressionist movement. He painted The Scream as part of his Frieze of Life series, in which sickness, death, fear, love, and melancholy are central themes. He died in January 1944 at the age of 81. Wow, he had a good life. Okay, what else also happened? Oh, in 1824, Beethoven let's talk music now. Beethoven's Symphony No. 9 debuted. In 1965, Keith Richards awoke blurry-eyed and grabbed his guitar and wrote the song Satisfaction. This is kind of interesting. It says, this is 1965. In the early morning hours of May 7th, 1965, a bleary-eyed Keith Richards awoke, grabbed a tape recorder, and laid down one of the greatest pop hooks of all time, the opening riff of I Can't Get No Satisfaction. He then promptly fell back to sleep, and he's quoted, "When I woke up in the morning, the tape had run out," Richards recalled many years later. "I put it back on, and there's this, maybe 30 seconds of satisfaction in a very drowsy sort of rendition. And then it suddenly, the guitar goes clang, and then there's like 45 minutes of snoring. Yikes." He says it wasn't much to go on, but he played it for Mick Jagger later the same day. He only had the first bit, and then he had the riff, Jagger recalls. It sounded like a country sort of thing on acoustic guitar. It didn't sound like rock, but he didn't really like it. He thought it was a joke. He really didn't think it was single material, and we all said, "You're off your head," which of course he was. Here's another. So Keith Richards for the Rolling Stones, they say he did that in his sleep. One of his biggest hits in his sleep. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. I won't go much further. In 1915, German submarine sinks the Lusitania, British ocean liner. Don't like that. Let's not talk about that. Gary Cooper was born in 1901. Gary Cooper is a famous movie star in High Noon and The Pride of the Yankees. He was born in Montana. Let's do one more. In 1998, so again, these sound like modern day dates. Daimler-Benz announced purchase of Chrysler Corp. So car companies. Okay, May 7th. Let us keep doing this. So again, if you've just joined, the reason we're doing this early is I'm going to a bridal shower later today, so I can't do Fibercast at its regular time. Oh, went to the Cape yesterday, dropped off some quilts, picked up some quilts. So if anyone's down in the Tumbleweed area, or West Barnstable, and the Tumbleweed Quilt Shop, I'm there once a month doing the drop-off and pick-off. And yesterday was such a beautiful day to drive to the Cape. There was a backup on the Bourne Bridge. However, okay, 3, one more. I took Buster the dog with me to the Cape yesterday in the car, and we got there earlier than my first appointment. So, and I've done this before. It's right near the Cape Cod Community College, where they have fields and walking area out back. It's very wide open. It's not in the woods really. It's just you walk around the fields. So I thought, well, I'll take the dog there. We'll take a little walk before Well, I pulled in and realized before I kind of got myself trapped. I couldn't turn around. I discovered it was a mass vaccination site. So there was a woman there in her mask, and she was taking temperatures. And she came up to the car, and I put my mask on, and I was just about ready to say, I don't need a vaccination. I'm just here to walk. And I said that, and she said, "That's fine. I just have to take your temperature." And she took her gun. It's a temperature gun like that. She put it up to my forehead. And as she did that, poor Buster in the back didn't know what was going on, but didn't recognize this person going like this into his car. And he was good. He barked. He didn't do anything else other than bark, but I thought he's doing his job. He's watching out for us. So, Buster. I think after I do this Shoofly, I'll bring him up and have him say hi. He's quite sleepy right now. Isn't that cute? Kind of proud of us. 2, 3, doing the old webbing thing. Okay. Here we go. Oh, who's out there? I'm so glad you're out there. Yes, Annie's been doing a lot of crocheting. You should see it. Exactly. Good on you, Buster. He is a good boy. There's that. One more seam here. I just don't think there's much more satisfying than doing just some scrap quilting. Let me iron this and then see what the second one will look like. Go. Look at that. Another Shoofly square. Let's see. Well, if it doesn't look good around the edge of this quilt, we'll just make a second quilt. How's that sound? What else? I think that's about it, what I wanted to share. So again, summertime is here. We're going to have some unusual scheduling, but keep on being creative. If you happen to see anyone and you're wondering where I am later tonight, let them know I've gone to a shower. I'll post it on Facebook as well. And I think that's all I have for now. Again, we just modified the old-fashioned Shoofly block. Have a great weekend, everyone. It's a good plan, Ann. Thanks. Happy Mother's Day to all of you out there. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next week on Fibercast. And for our patrons, I'll see you tomorrow on Open Sew. Bye.